Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another interesting combo to try out. It's a new choke that a couple of you guys have requested to see, and I'm definitely curious to see how it performs as well. And we've got a load that kind of likes to perform well with different particular chokes if you pair it with the right combo. So we'll see what this is able to do when we put them together. But first up, for the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the Winchester Longbeard XR loads. These ones are the 12 gauge, 3 inch, 1 7/8 ounce payload of 5 moving about 1,050 feet per second. We've tested a lot of Longbeards over the years, but the 1 7/8 ounce payload versions seem to be a little more particular than the 1 3/4 ounce loads. They can perform well when paired with the right choke, but if it's not their favorite combo, usually it's a much more broad pattern than what we typically see from a Longbeard load. The 1 3/4 don't really seem to care. They're going to give you a nasty pattern either way. So I'm definitely curious to see what we can get from these through today's new choke combo. Before our setup today, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and we're going to be running an HS Strut UnderTaker Pro choke. It's a 665 constriction. We've tested a couple other variants of the HS Strut UnderTaker chokes. Usually, they're pretty good budget options. This is their higher end model. I think these are in the ballpark of $50-ish, but we've never tested an UnderTaker Pro. Several of you guys have wanted to see it, so we'll put it to the test and see what we can get. And I guess we'll also see if these 1 7/8 ounce Longbeards like this UnderTaker Pro or not. Before today's test, we're running everything the same as usual. I've got the turkey target at 40 yards and the chrono so we can get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll take our shot and we'll see what happens. In theory, should be a pretty decent combination, but I think it's going to come down to if this is a setup that these shells actually like. So let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, that shell gave us 1,075 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1,050, so we are a little bit over that number, but it's not at all uncommon that we see 1,100 or a little bit over that. So this is about typical. Nothing out of the ordinary here for velocity, but did they actually pattern well through that UnderTaker Pro? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and I would say it's pretty average. It's very much so middle of the road. We obviously favored to the left, which rarely ever happens with that 1187, so that choke might just favor to the left. But what we see here definitely isn't nearly as capable as what we know the Longbeard shells can do. The 1 7/8 ounce payload seems to give a little more broad and even of a spread rather than that super screaming tight 1 3/4 ounce Longbeard performance. We still obviously have a plenty capable enough 40-yard pattern. We do have a dead bird. There are several through the brain and spine area that would have done the job, and it would be a little bit better if we centered it up even. So moving in, looking at our core area, it is a little bit hotter just off the left edge of that turkey paper than it is everywhere else. So we have a little bit of a core. It's pretty even for the most part until we get just outside of it. Then we start getting a little sporadic. And we definitely have our fair share of flyers down there at the bottom and a bunch over here off the right edge and a few up top as well. So it's not the perfect pattern. It's not anything overly impressive. It's not terrible. This has just pretty much been the average with these particular shells. I have no doubt that if we run the 1 3/4 ounce Longbeard load through that choke, I bet it would be a pretty nasty performer. This is just somewhere in the middle. If you prefer a little wider, a little broader pattern, then that's going to be just fine. If you like those nice tight patterns, then you're probably going to want the 1 3/4 ounce load. So overall, I was hoping to see a little bit tighter, obviously, but I'm not really too surprised considering our previous results with these shells. It's plenty capable of doing the job for sure, so it's probably going to be a little bit of personal preference when it comes to that kind of pattern. It would be plenty capable enough to 40 yards and still give you a little more breathing room at closer ranges. So that might be what some people are looking for, and in those scenarios, it would obviously do the job just fine. And we did have a wad strike down at the bottom of our paper there too. I did look everywhere for a good while for that wad. It is not stuck in the paper, and surprisingly enough, it blew through one of the bottom boards there on that pallet behind the paper, and it's nowhere to be found behind the target either. So it probably still had a number of pellets stuck down in it and skipped off somewhere into the swamp back there. So a little surprising there. Usually I would show you the wad, but we don't really have one for that shell because I can't find it. So I guess I'll leave it up to you guys. You can let me know what you think about it down in the comments, but overall I'd call it good enough to do the job if this is what you had. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that result right there? I think we pretty well covered it. There's not much more that needs to be said. We've seen tremendously better from other Longbeard loads, there's no question about that. But that's been the story with the 1 7/8 ounce version. They're good enough if you prefer a little bit more leeway in your pattern. There's not going to be a turkey that makes it through that combo at all. And that right there is still noticeably better than most of what we have ever gotten from any Remington shells. So still, the Longbeards are probably the best lead load on the shelf. But it's probably going to come down to personal preference, whether that's a pattern you like, or if you're like me and know what the Longbeards are capable of and prefer that much tighter, much hotter core. Either opinion is just fine. Both are still going to kill the turkey, and I don't think they're going to ever tell the difference between them, that's for sure. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these 1 7/8 ounce Longbeards or one of those UnderTaker Pro chokes? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Is this a pattern or a combo you would hunt with? Would you prefer to see it a little bit tighter? Or is that little bit more broad spread exactly what you're looking to see? And what other shell and choke combos do you want to see us run when it comes to Longbeard loads or that UnderTaker Pro choke? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.